CUDA.com and Royal Farms, bringing you the culmination of the MIAA regular season. Thanks for making CUDA.com your home for high school lacrosse throughout the 2012 season. As usual, I'm Booker Corrigan, joined by Inside Lacrosse writer Ty Zanders. Ty, these teams have some history. Last year they met in the quarterfinals. Today they meet, and they will also meet on Friday. What are your thoughts going into the McDonogh BL game today?
Well, the game, I mean, just a little. You know, with hosting the winner hosting the quarterfinal on Friday, a sort of a unique dynamic with Severn playing Gilman today and McDonogh playing BL today, and they'll match up on Friday. So it's definitely a big one. I think McDonogh needs it more. They had that win against St. Paul's, and they had that loss against Mount St. Joe last week. So their home field advantage is so key. I think they need this one.
And then let's get right into the principles for today. McDonogh, they have talent all over the field, some young, some old. Let's talk about Boys Latin before we get to McDonogh. Ty, tell us about the Boys Latin Lakers.
Starts an attack with Shaq Stanwyck, Colin Heacock, Greg Pike, and Colin Shell, all big-time playmakers. At midfield, there's Ben Pridemore, Michael Lynch, and Tal Bruno. I feel like I mentioned the entire team, but that's how much talent there is here. On defense, Mac the Knife Pons has been tremendous this year. No doubt one of the best defenders in the league. And then in goal, Christian Knight has been playing very well lately.
And for the McDonogh Eagles, Hill Blaze, their face-off guy, has really burst onto the scene. And then, of course, attack-wise, Evan Glazer and Trey McGee do a great job. Of course, Austin Frederick, another offensive component on that McDonogh Eagle roster. And then defensively, Alex Hurdle really coming along and doing a nice job. And in the cage, Nick Doyle, obviously going to be counted on today. It's a wet, slick turf. Booker Corrigan and Ty Zanders bringing you the call. CUDA.com, your home for amazing high school lacrosse all year. Hunter Moreland going up against Hill Blaze for the opening face-off. First quarter brought to you by the Baltimore Crabs Lacrosse Club. Crabs involved in CUDA lacrosse solely to support the fine efforts of these great athletes and coaches. And Hill Blaze makes quick work of the opening face-off, and McDonogh in their home whites, Boys Latin in their road maroons. And we are rolling heavy here first quarter. Trey McGee spins it up top. Britton Vallis, number 36, shares it with Austin Frederick. Frederick's going to come off a pick from Danny Sweeney. And McDonogh looking to get everybody a touch. This game, interesting value or backstory in that the winner gets home field advantage, but these two teams have already been predetermined they will play in the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah, I mentioned that in the open, Booker. I really love that interesting dynamic with Severn playing Gilman, and BL, of course, here against McDonogh. McDonogh, I think, really needs this one because their home field advantage is so key when that grass field, especially playing on that with that rain.
The precipitation coming down a little bit as we see great short stick D-midi defense by Brandon. I gave my love a cherry. Now here's Mac the Knife Pons. BL looking for a clear. And quickly, Gasaldi gets it up, and here's that highly skilled Boys Latin attack unit, number 9, Shaq Stanwyck, and number 10, Colin Heacock.
I think they started off a little slow this year, but they've come on strong lately with big performances from Shaq Stanwyck and Colin Heacock as of late, and Greg Pike turned in a hat trick in our game with Gilman last Friday.
And there we see the first evidence of that truly slick field here at McDonogh. John McDonogh Stadium. Booker Corrigan and Ty Zanders bringing you the call. Pridemore pushes it down the wing to Heacock, and now it's in the cross of Shaq Stanwyck. Stanwyck being marked today by Alex Hurdle. I talked about him in my open. He's one of those guys who, great position defense. Lynch shot, saved Doyle.
It was almost like he was passing him the ball.
And as you say, pass. We see an errant one. Ball goes out over the sideline. We get a horn substitution. Coach Bob Schreiber uses the opportunity to sub in his second midfield group. T. Moyer has burst onto the scene lately as well.
I think if you're BL, you feel good about the youth you have, with several sophomores making strong impacts so far, and a pretty solid, actually that's an understatement, pretty solid junior class, featuring guys like Ben Pridemore, nifty midfielder, and Tal Bruno is a sophomore, and then Michael Lynch. And yes, Booker, I did just win the race to nifty as that goal scored.
And Casey Reese puts the Lakers up 1-0. And Ty Zanders wins the race to nifty. Make Royal Farms your first stop before and after every game for everything from custom-built subs and wraps, drinks, healthy snacks, fresh brewed coffee, Western fries, and of course, Royal Farms delicious, world-famous, fresh, never frozen chicken. Royal Farms, real fresh, real fast. 9:47 to go first quarter. Lakers up 1. And Brian Lichtenauer pushes that face-off forward. Stanwyck down diagonally to Heacock. No dice, and the Lakers will possess.
Mentioned the youth for this boys Latin team. I think the depth has been great as well. That's another aspect that has really come on strong late in the season.
Pass intended for Pike, backed up by T. Moyer. And you say youth, you got to think this McDonogh team has some stars in the younger generation.
You could certainly say that. So many of those freshmen and sophomores playing huge roles. You don't see that much in NCAA with those youngins really scoring a bevy of goals, as freshmen and sophomores. But Coach Hilgartner doing a great job this year with managing that personnel, managing that youth. That's really tough task.
Two-man game with Stanwyck and Moyer. Shot goal, T. Moyer. Staying high to high on the rip, and 2-0 Lakers.
And I talked about depth a minute ago, and they really have so many guys who can put the ball in the back of the net. T. Moyer, you mentioned, really having a solid May. And Casey Reese as well, I'm pretty impressed with. Those are two of the goal scorers.
Nick Shepard on the wing for the Lakers as Lichtenauer wins his second faceoff. 2-0 on faceoffs for Lichtenauer so far. Stanwyck now carries behind. BL trying to exploit that two-man game a little bit. Remind you, sexually transmitted infections such as chlamydia and gonorrhea can have serious health consequences, but these infections are easy to treat. So if you think you might be infected, talk to your healthcare provider or get tested free at your local public health clinic. It's fast, it's easy, you don't even need a blood sample. If you test negative, great. If not, it's a step towards getting the help you need. BD, helping all people live healthy lives. Go to bd.com to learn more. Ball all the way down to the defensive end, and Mac the Knife Pons gets it back to Christian Knight.
And very rarely do you see a Stanwyck pass go errant, but who else will pick it up but Mac the Knife Pons?
Tommy Brown with the shot, backed up by Stanwyck, so BL will retain possession as the rain comes down just a tad harder. But the CUDA.com Royal Farms Game of the Week presses on. Michael Lynch, top center, gets it over to Tal Bruno.
What's dangerous about this Laker midfield is that I think almost all three of them may warrant a pull. Of course, that's not how a game plan works. Pridemore's gotten the pull, but they're all so dangerous as shooters up top.
Pridemore, of course, the junior midfielder headed for Notre Dame. Stanwyck inside feed to Pridemore and gets it over to Pike. Pike, little roll dodge shot just over the cage.
You mentioned Greg Pike. I mean, this is the home of the notorious BIG call a year ago, almost a year to date.
The anniversary, so to speak.
I got to say, that song came on last night when I was out, and I thought of you, Book. I didn't belt out the lyrics, but I definitely wanted to. Save myself from embarrassment.
Michael Lynch possesses, defended on the far side by C.J. Richardson. And now it's Tal Bruno. Heacock behind. Up top, Lynch checks once, unleashes one just wide. Stanwyck driving lefty, again guarded by number 19, Alex Hurdle. Rough Rider defenseman. I know he also plays a little bit for the Crabs. First quarter brought to you by the Baltimore Crabs Lacrosse Club. We are at the 6:25 mark. First quarter, Boys Latin leads 2-0.
And Booker, it's my opinion, it's only a matter of time until Alex Hurdle is one of the best defensemen in the league. Probably one of the best sophomore defensemen in the league right now, but he's fantastic. He's covered the top option on the opponent's attack all year. Did a really good job.
Foul on the far side. This first man up brought to you by the Power Shaft. If you're ready to get on the power play, log on to www.thepowershaft.com to learn how you can get the world's only weighted lacrosse training device, a solid shaft that you put your normal lacrosse head onto. So the Power Shaft is the device for defensemen, midfielders, attackmen, and goalies.
And I will say we could probably use a power shaft right now, and this good old umbrella might fly away at any second.
Ball hits the turf out of the stick of Colin Shell, but he corrals it and gets it up to Tal Bruno. You see balls flying kind of all over the place. Sticks are wet, pockets are changing. Heacock desk pop by Bruno.
That's the definition of a desk pop, book. Even not being too much of a former player, I know these players really take their sticks seriously in conditions like this, always messing with it before the game.
Christian Knight gets back to help on the errant pass. And now the Lakers still struggling to push it forward. And now we get a time violation against the Lakers, and it's going to give possession over to the McDonogh Eagles. Austin Frederick possesses now for the Eagles. McDonogh in their home whites. Boys Latin in their road maroons. Booker Corrigan and Ty Zanders bringing you the call. Robert Clark up top to Vallis, and now into the stick of Rob Black. Referees for today's game: Carmen D. John Domenico, Maceo Parker, and Richard Montgomery McGee. As we creep towards the 4:40 mark of the first quarter. Shot, goal. Britton Vallis comes off the 1-4-1, gets it from Austin Frederick, and 2-1 now. Eagles on the board.
Can't say enough good things about Britton Vallis. When his team needs him, he finds the net, did it right just there. Shows such poise for a sophomore. No surprise why he's headed to Johns Hopkins in a few years.
Hunter Moreland, nifty little play on the inside. Of course, that's not going to get me the race to nifty, but doesn't take away from the niftiness of the play by Moreland.
And I did hear that whoever wins the race nifty tonight will get a crab feast this evening. So I'll hold you to that, book.
But of course. Errant pass by the Lakers is going to give possession back over to McDonogh. 4:20 to go first quarter, brought to you by the Baltimore Crabs Lacrosse Club. But I'll tell you, I know a lot of people are going to be headed to Royal Farms for some hot chocolate after this one.
Even though the crowd is a little lacking here.
They're probably getting Royal Farms on the way in.
I think so too.
You're supposed to go on the way to and from every game, and I know I have no problem sliding by a Royal Farms.
Probably should have grabbed ourselves a water. We're dying up here.
Trey McGee spins it behind, and here's Frederick guarded by Brandon Cherry.
Not quite sure why they're just short stick on Frederick. He's tore it up this year.
Frederick spins back. And now it's Vallis on the far side. going up against Nick Shepard. McGee straight away behind the cage, guarded by Matty Reese. And now it's back over to Bobby Clark. McDonogh running what we used to call a 10 set, where you have 3 middies up top, 1 guy on the crease, and 2 guys behind. Don't get a chance to reference the 10 set too often. Ball goes onto the ground and booted around. Mac Pons comes up with it initially, but Trey McGee now corrals it in and out of his stick. Sticks flying. And Reese gets it back to Christian Knight. Make Royal Farms your first stop before and after every game for everything from custom-built subs and wraps, healthy snacks, drinks, fresh brewed coffee, Western fries, and of course, Royal Farms' delicious, world-famous fresh, never frozen chicken. Royal Farms, real fresh, real fast. Keegan O'Connor now on for the Lakers. In with T. Moyer and Casey Reese balancing out that midfield. And Moyer's going to take it for a spin behind the cage. Little sky whammy coming out towards the top. And now it's Heacock. Goes to his right. Looks into the crease, ball in and out of the stick of Casey Reese.
I just want to know what's going on here. I'm seeing some bubbles fly up towards the press box. Is that Bob Shriver blowing some bubbles on the sideline?
T. Moyer already has a goal today. 2-1 your score. Minute and a half left first quarter. Stanwyck slides to the ground, but a great ground ball pickup by Keegan O'Connor. O'Connor wants the roll back for his righty shot, relinquishes it over to T. Moyer. And Moyer's going to have another go at that right side. Heacock shot just high. Credit Nick Doyle with a piece of that.
I got to say, O'Connor almost reminds a little bit of Taylor Sadhoff, not just the number 21, but really good in ground balls and a good two-way midi.
Stanwyck comes around righty, looks to roll back. And Casey Reese now right-handed down to T. Moyer. Inside pike, just over the cage. Under a minute remaining first quarter, 2-1 your score. Stanwyck going against Hurdle, shot. Great save, Nick Doyle. Not you, fat Jesus. Not up in here. Ball's not going to make it to midfield. Heacock comes up with the scoop. As we are under 30 seconds here first quarter. Baltimore Crabs doing a great job bringing you the first quarter all year long. Check out their new prospect camp. Go to their website, Baltimore Crabs Lacrosse Club. Moyer underneath, shot just over the cage. And BL will maintain possession. 10.7 seconds left. Just a shade more than 10.6 seconds remaining. Stanwyck splits left to right. Carries around behind, pass too high. And Matty Reese will run out the quarter for the McDonogh Eagles. 2-1 the score, BL in the lead. Make Royal Farms your first stop before and after every game for everything from custom-built subs and wraps, healthy snacks, drinks, fresh brewed coffee, Western fries, and of course Royal Farms delicious, world-famous fresh, never frozen chicken. Royal Farms, real fresh, real fast.